Hello and welcome to the Falcon Focus podcast. It's Tuesday. We're live on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean, listen on iTunes. We were with you from 9:45 to 10:15, and great to be back. We were not with you last week. I was on another broadcast assignment. We will not be with you next week either because of spring break, so kind of an odd month. Every other week, we'll be back with you on the 26th of March, and then thereafter going out with a bang to wrap up the school year on a more regular basis. It is episode 23. My name is Matt Menzl, and on today's edition, we'll be joined in our second segment by one of the newest members of the Concordia Athletic family, that being the Assistant Director of Communications, JC, Jeremy Crawford, will join us. But first, talking acrobatics and tumbling. That was senior Jofflyn Zaremba, kind enough to join us as they get ready to take place in action tonight. 6 p.m. Arizona Christian will be the opponent inside the John Book Fieldhouse. And Jofflyn, thanks first of all for being with us here this morning. And kind of exciting because you guys are finally back in action. It seems like it's been forever when you look at your schedule. Last time you guys were actually in an event was back on February 17th. So take us through the last few weeks. What have you guys been up to kind of stay fresh, stay in the moment, stay in the season?
So our last meet was a little rough, and so these past couple of weeks we have been revamping everything. So we've changed some stuff around to make it score better, to hopefully come out with a win this time. I'm excited for tonight. I think the whole team is.
You're supposed to be in action back on March 4th. That got canceled. Eventually a forfeit victory against Gannon. Is it tough, though? Okay, you're supposed to compete on March 4th. That doesn't happen. Is it kind of hard sometimes to stay, focused, knowing that you have so much time in between events?
Not so much because we have practice regardless, but that was definitely disappointing because, yes, we came out with a win, but at the end of the day, that's not the important thing. We need these extra meets to qualify for nationals because that's the goal at the end of the day.
We'll talk about that in a little bit because you were part of nationals once upon a time, but you're one of 7 seniors, at least listed on the active acro and tumbling roster. So this is your final opportunity to compete inside the John Book Fieldhouse. Is that emotional when you kind of stop and think about your 4-year journey?
Yeah, this sport has given me the best friends I made at Concordia. I either met on the team or through the team, and the sport has given me an opportunity to continue my athletic career outside of gymnastics, which is what I grew up in. So yeah, my time as a student athlete is almost over. That's crazy.
And we'll talk about your past in gymnastics in just a little bit, but the nice thing too is, okay, we mentioned that this is the final time you'll be competing inside the John Book Fieldhouse. Great crowds too. You look over time and maybe you don't know what to expect when you first arrive, but it's been great fan support, hasn't there?
Yeah, grateful for the crowd that comes out. The CUW family is really, it's tight-knit. Like the athletics, we support each other, and I am proud of the fan base that we have accumulated.
So in your time with the Falcons, how have you seen this program grow year to year?
Oh my gosh, so we start out each year and we watch the film from the last year, and sometimes we'll go even farther back and you can just watch that and it is ridiculous. We have improved so much. The coaches recruiting, they're bringing in newer, better talent every year. So super proud of them and super proud of, once you get on the team, you learn all these new skills. A lot of people, sometimes they don't have a gymnastics or a cheerleading background, so we're teaching them everything new, and they do really good. Everyone on the team is super willing to learn new things, and we're really strong. I'm excited.
How about for you? How have you improved year to year?
Year to year. So when I came in, all I knew how to do was tumble, because that's the only part of gymnastics that was really incorporated into this. So I had to learn everything as far as lifting people, the correct techniques. I had never, in the weight room, thank goodness for Rustin, I had never done any kind of weightlifting before, so that was all brand new. And now, I'm a base on the team. I'm in a lot of things, so I'm grateful that I have been given the opportunity to work those skills and get decent at them. And in the weight room, thanks for being patient with us and teaching us everything. And tumbling, it's just a well-rounded sport. You learn new stuff, you bring in what you know. So it's a good combination.
I will ask you at some point what it means to be a base. When you look at the list of positions, that's, as mentioned, your listing on the Falcon roster. Now, when you came to Concordia, was it with the intent to be part of the acro and tumbling team? How did that come about?
No, so I applied here for the program specifically for my major. And then I found out about the acrobatics and tumbling team, and they had an open tryout. And I was like, I don't know, I haven't done gymnastics in a year. I don't know how that would go, but I knew I would regret it if I didn't try. So I walked on, crossed my fingers, hope for the best, and I'm so glad I did it. I've had the best experience since.
Did you know what you were signing up for or trying out for, or did you have to do a little research?
Oh no, I did not know. I did not know the commitment I was signing up for. I did not know that practices were every day, 6 a.m., but at the end of the day, like it's the best. I wouldn't change anything about it.
So for you, I got to believe there was an adjustment period, at least getting acclimated with the sport. What did that entail? Like, what were some of the challenges, at least initially, based on your gymnastic background and now being acro and tumbling? What was some of the adjustment that was necessary?
I think the biggest thing is that gymnastics is such an individual sport. It's almost like a selfish sport because all you do is worry about yourself. Like, it's how you perform on each event. It's what you're putting forth. And it is similar to acro because, like, it still is, like, what you're putting forth, but it's so much more of a team aspect because you don't go out there and do anything by yourself. You know, whether you're a base or the top or the whole team together in team routine, you all have to go out there and do your job. But at the end of the day, like, it's what you all put out there together. So that's the difference, I would say.
And looking at your gymnastics background, what is your first recollection? How did you get involved in that sport?
I started when I was 3, so that was not even my decision. I started with like the Mommy and Me classes, stuck with it up until my senior year.
What was it about gymnastics that you loved, that kept you involved?
Everything. It's a love-hate because it hurts, but at the same time it's so much fun and you feel so strong being able to do these skills and compete them, and it just like it teaches you so much. It teaches you confidence to go out there and just like not question yourself, to be able to go out there in front of a big crowd and you're by yourself on that 4-inch balance beam. Like, if you can do that, what can you not do?
I read that at Winnick County High School you were a state gymnastics champion in the bars. How magical was that experience, and how, when you look at your athletic background, when you look at your past, where does that rank as far as your accomplishments?
That was a big one. That was I mean, I never considered myself like the best athlete, but to go out there and like win something at state, that was big for me. And that goes up there in some of the best times I've had in gymnastics, yeah.
So in your opinion, to be successful in acro and tumbling, do you have to have a gymnastics background? Is that important in your opinion?
I think that it's helpful, but it's definitely not necessary because, like I said, we have girls on the team that are from cheerleading. Some don't come from any background at all, and as long as you're willing to learn, you're willing to put in the effort, you're willing to put in the time and the work, like, you'll get it. Perseverance.
Let's break down the sport. Okay, we mentioned your base, that position. What does that mean?
That means that I am not in the air. I stay on the ground. So I do like the lifting and the holding. My feet are on the floor. Sometimes you'll like like in a pyramid you'll see. So like there'll be someone on the ground and like it's like 2.5 people high. So you might be in the middle, but you're never the one like being thrown or being lifted up or anything like that.
Does it ever make you nervous though that you're the base, that you could drop somebody, you may not catch somebody, that something could go wrong? I mean, there's got to be a rhyme or reason as to how you go about lifting someone, holding someone.
Let me tell you the mantra for acrobatics and tumbling. Your top never hits the floor. It doesn't matter if you have to dive underneath them or whatever you got to do, your top does not hit the floor. And I think as a team, like, we're pretty good about that.
So how did you learn the position of base? Like, how do you go about, where do you even start?
Yeah, so when I walked on, like I said, like all I could do was tumble. And what it comes down to is the girls on the team that know what they're doing, like they kind of adopt you in and they show you how to place your hands, they show you how to lift. Like a lot of it's in the legs and you gotta, like it's the whole body lift. You gotta use everything, not just your arms or whatever. So it really comes down to people taking the time to show you the ropes. So thankful for the team I had because they were really good about that.
Well, mentioned tonight, you guys will be in action inside the John Boog Fieldhouse at 6 p.m. against Arizona Christian. And for those that haven't been in an acro and tumbling event, the meet format, there are 6 events, compulsory, acro, the pyramid. Then you have a halftime before the toss, tumbling, team event. Can you explain a little bit about what fans can expect to see if they come to the John Boog Fieldhouse? When we talk about that format, what that entails?
So usually, depending on the judging, it takes like an hour and a half. So you start out with compulsories, and that is both teams do the exact same thing. So compulsories runs through acro, pyramid, toss, and tumbling. So everyone goes out, everything starts at a 10, you do the exact same thing. So then after that you go into acro, and this is where it gets kind of like optional. So it's up to your team to build the start values up to a 10.0. So there's 3 heats in acro, 5 elements, 6 elements, 7 elements. You have 45 seconds to go out there and compete your particular elements. And then, so that's acro. And you go into pyramids, there's 3 heats again. And you still have 45 seconds to compete those pyramids. 3 heats in toss, and then there are 6 heats in tumbling. So it goes pretty quick, and then, and like I said, after compulsory, it's up to the team to make all those start values lead up to a 10.
Now, you're not involved in every event. You're only in specific areas.
Yes.
And where your fans are looking for you, where are they going to see you?
Okay, so in compulsories, I will be in the compulse pyramid. In acro, I am 5 element acro. In pyramids, you can find me in all the pyramids. God bless. In the toss, you'll find me in heat 1 and 2, and then no tumbling. I'm retired from tumbling now. Ankle injury at the beginning of the season. And then at team event, you'll find me in team event.
Last year, and I'm guessing, as you mentioned earlier, the goal is to get back to nationals.
Yes.
And last year, you were one of 5 athletes who got the opportunity, an at-large bid, Pyramid Heat 3 Open, that in Erie, Pennsylvania at the NCATA National Championships. Take us back to last April. First of all, how surprised were you guys to qualify for nationals, and what was that whole experience like?
Our team, in general, has always been pretty strong in the pyramid heat. And so, like, of course, that was our goal because they just switched the rules last year where that could happen for us. And so we were getting pretty high scores throughout the season, and we all just, like, huddled up before we went out for Heat 3, and we said, okay, guys, like, this is our time. We went out there, they gave us a 9-9, and, like, we qualified right then. And, like, we could have been knocked out by some other teams if they would have got, like, a 9.95 or a 10.0. But they didn't, and so we made it, and it is just... So I'm so grateful to have represented this team specifically because no D3 school had ever made it to nationals before. Concordia had never made it to nationals before, and to be a part of the group that got to go was so cool.
So not only are you excelling in this sport, but then in the classroom, and that's I always want to brag about accomplishments in the classroom as well. Student athlete, and your major is listed as biomedical science. First of all, what got you into biomedical science? What do you hope to do with that major?
So it was biomedical science. I was trying to get into PA programs, looking at like nurse practitioner maybe, anything like that. I knew I wanted the medical field. And then I actually just got into grad school, got accepted last month. I'll be at Marquette next
congrats.
year. Yep, for their NP program. But what got me into it was, actually when I turned 15, I got diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
And so I was exposed to all these different medical professions, and I really liked my nurse practitioner and my PA just because like they were so close and so personable. Not that my doctors were bad or anything like that, they were super smart, but it was just like those mid-level providers really were able to like spend that time with you and explain everything to you and made you feel really safe in like a circumstance that you really don't. And so I want to do that for somebody.
So you're excelling at Concordia, you go back to high school, and you finished in your graduating class third. What's your secret? What's the formula for success in trying to juggle, all your after-school activities, or in this case, acro and tumbling, but then also your education?
I think that high school specifically, like gymnastics, was a huge part of that because they taught me time management. I don't know where I would have learned that other than gymnastics because, that was the thing. It was school. You would eat something quick, go to practice, do your homework as fast as you could, like go to bed, and just do your best. And like whatever time you had, like you had to put it forth to something. And without gymnastics, I don't think I would have learned that, and I don't think I would have been as motivated to do as well or motivated to get everything done in a timely fashion if I wasn't in such a sport that took so much of my time. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, Jofflyn, thanks a lot for your time. Continued success. Best of luck tonight, Arizona Christian. Only 90 minutes of your time, 6 o'clock inside the John Book Fieldhouse. Go and support Jofflyn and her teammates. 7 seniors final time they will compete here on the Concordia campus. When we come back, we will bring the sweater vest up here and Jeremy Crawford as we continue with the Falcon Focus podcast.
Seems every college starts by asking the same question. What do you want to do for a living? You want to be a teacher, a businessman, a nurse? At Concordia University, we ask a slightly different question. what kind of person do you want to be? Because we believe success in life should be measured by how you live, not just what you do. Of course, that may not be the common way, but at Concordia, it's the only way. Concordia University. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to the Falcon Focus podcast. Again, we're live on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean. Listen on iTunes. And again, no show next week at a spring break. This guy will be partying in a sweater vest. We will not have a show, but we'll be back with you on the 26th of March, and we'll be with you then for the rest of the school year and beyond as we wrap up a year of the Falcon Focus podcast. This is episode 23.
The Jordan episode.
I like that. This guy is the Assistant Director of Athletic Communications, Jeremy Crawford, one of the newest members of the Concordia Athletic Department family. And, you know, I have to start off by bringing up your Twitter profile. And if you look, you know, it reads, big fan of the sweater vest, believer of Sasquatch, you're a geography nut, and then CUW Athletics Communications. By the way, you have to update your location because it also says he still lives in Granville, Michigan. But I want to bring up the sweater vest first. Okay. We have to go there because, you know, President Fair's got the bow tie. He has the sweater vest. How did you fall in love with the sweater vest?
I always respected Jim Tressel at Ohio State.
This is a true story.
This is a true story.
Okay.
I went to Michigan State. I bled green and white my entire life, and Jim Tressel did a lot of damage to the Wolverine community, and so I always respected what he did, and so I was like, sweater vest is my little salute to Jim Tressel. So I started that in junior year of high school, and now we're up to 30 sweater vests.
How many?
30.
Jeez. And I will ask you at some point, why the hate for Michigan? What did the Wolverines ever do to you? And we'll get to that. But do you have a favorite color, a typical design of a sweater vest you go with?
I have a sweater vest for really any occasion. My favorite sweater vest is my Michigan State sweater vest, but my newest one is a Santa doing wheelies for Christmas, so I really enjoy that one as well.
Did you have a blue one in your
I had some blue,
closet?
But I did not have royal blue, so I did invest in a royal blue sweater vest after my interview here.
Right away? Like
right
you
away.
Knew you were
yeah, but
home run?
I knew I was Steve's pick, so.
So do you have a system in determining what sweater vest you go with and when?
I try to stay with a Concordia balance, so I just wore my royal blue on Saturday, as you saw in the weather, and then so I'm on my black sweater vest now, and so I went with the royal tie today for that.
If anybody looks you up on social media, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, you tend to have videos on occasion of yourself. Just like on Saturday during our lacrosse broadcast, you're outside. I mean, it's sleeting out. It's nasty out. You have no jacket. And in these videos, you have no jacket. Do you have a jacket? Do you own a jacket? Why no jacket?
There are some people, Jamie Baldwin at Michigan State, who if saw that would probably yell at me, and there was actually a few parents who yelled at me, and then one of our photographers yelled at me as well, saying, "Where's your jacket?" And
I was yelling at you because I figured you wouldn't even be here today. You'd be sick.
You have to show a certain element of toughness, especially being the new kid on campus. You need to show that you're tough.
I'm not sure that's toughness.
I think
you call yourself a geography nut. There may be more to that.
Well, I'm a nut, so.
Yeah, well, so what do you do in the spring and summertime? There's no sweater vest. Do they have like you know how they have those tuxedo shirts? It's not a tuxedo, but it's on the shirt. Do you have one of those for a sweater vest?
I do not have any fake sweater vests, if that's what you're asking. I will wear sweater vests on any occasion, whether it's freezing cold or boiling hot. I actually was threatened to get fired one time at Michigan State for a field hockey season opener, whereas in the 90s, and the press box was really hot. And the SID there, Jamie Baldwin, said that I'd be fired if I did not take my sweater vest off and put on a polo. So that was one of the only times I've ever switched out of sweater vest. But sometimes you go in the summertime if you want to just rock the sweater vest, only if you're by the pool.
Oh, man. Sun's out, guns out.
Sun's out, guns
Jeez
out.
Louise, this is going bad. All right, believer of Sasquatch.
Yes.
A.K.A. Bigfoot. Where does that belief come from?
There was a few years ago where I thought I saw something walking down the hill one night and then walking into the forest, and ever since then, it's either that someone was trespassing on our property or there was a Sasquatch, and I would like to believe in the human race, so
So you believe Bigfoot lives in Michigan?
Oh, yes. I think there are pockets of Sasquatch all throughout North America.
Do you believe, and I'm dating myself with this reference, but do you believe Bigfoot looks like Harry and the Hendersons?
I think there's all kinds of Sasquatch. I don't we could go hours into my beliefs on Sasquatch.
We got time.
Yeah, I just think there's possibly multiple species of Sasquatch. So,
Never thought Bigfoot lived on the other side of Lake Michigan. Geography nut.
yes.
How did you develop that passion?
I don't know. I always just enjoyed social studies throughout school. I actually graduated with a degree in elementary education focusing on social studies. So I've always just loved social studies and sports geography and all kinds of stuff.
Do you have a favorite thing or fact involving geography?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So you're not a nut any longer in geography?
Shower works me pretty hard, so I can't really focus on my true loves of geography.
That does make sense. I get that. You're from Michigan.
Yep.
Did you grow up playing sports?
I played basketball back in the day, and I really sucked. If I were to be watching Jeremy Crawford play like middle school basketball, I would probably be yelling at Jeremy because he was an awful player, couldn't score, was cherry picking all the time. My least favorite kind of player there is today, and so if I were in the stands right now, I'd be making a middle school Jeremy probably cry.
I don't even know where to go with that. So college, you went to Michigan State. Why did you become a Spartan?
I was a Spartan all my life. There's photos of me way back in the day wearing green and white.
Why?
I just love it's the greatest school on the face of the earth, minus Concordia University of Wisconsin. So if you're looking at schools, if you can't get into Concordia, maybe Michigan State, but those are the two greatest schools that there are.
So you grew up a Spartans fan.
Yep.
Why not Michigan? What did the Wolverines ever do to you?
Those are just awful people. Like,
But why?
They're either stuck up or they're just not good people to deal with.
But they're probably saying the same thing about Michigan State people.
They're wrong,
But what makes them wrong and you right?
they're just like, there was one time, I believe it was either my freshman or it was my sophomore year, where I went down to a game with my friend who went to the University of Michigan.
So you have a friend who went to Michigan.
Yeah, one of my best friends went.
So they're not all bad people.
99% yes, but like there's
There's the one.
There's the 1%.
There's the one.
But there was a game at Yost, a hockey game, and every time the word hail was said, the person behind me just kicked me in the back of the leg. And I think we gave up 5 goals early. And so, like, the back of my leg was just dead by... We came back, but my leg was sore.
So that one person ruined it for everybody that's a Michigan Wolverine fan.
There's... No, like, the entire fan base.
Now, you were part of the Spartan athletic communication staff as well. Yep. When did that interest peak? When did you say, hey, maybe the sports information field's a route that I want to go?
Well, I took stats at Granville High School all throughout my career, and then...
Your career?
Yep, in my career, so I was the stat kid at Granville, and so we had a stat program.
So by then your basketball days were over?
Yeah, threw up the jersey already.
Retired?
Retired and put on the sweater vest.
Jeez.
But Rick Albro, who was the head boys coach at the time at Granville, became an assistant coach for the women's basketball program at Michigan State. And so I reached out to him to be a manager there, and he asked what I wanted to do. And I said I wanted to work with stats, and then he kind of headed me into the direction of athletic communications. That's what I didn't even know this field existed until.
So what were some of your responsibilities with Michigan State, and maybe how does that compare or differ from what you are responsible for now at Concordia?
Back then, you were just kind of. I was really the stats mule. I was Ben Fleeger called me the Cal Ripken of athletic communications, where you just had me at every game. I loved working the games, bled green and white, so being at all the games. So I was mostly a stats role there, and then like helping out in the office, where now I'm kind of running things as well with Steve, and it's just a little two different positions, but there's some overlap because next week I'll be down in Florida taking stats as well for a softball. So
sounds tough.
Yep.
Did I see too? You have a picture. You got attacked by a superstar.
Yes.
While working for Michigan State.
The superstars are the best halftime entonment.
Harry Canary.
Harry Canary. I think it was Yao Flamingo who got me that
Makes
day.
Sense.
Yep. That. Jim Donatelli, who was in athletic communications, and then he switched over to the marketing staff, kind of told the superstars that I would be an easy mark essentially. So if you're going after someone to attack the kid in the sweater vest. So
Michigan fan, you think?
Jim Donatelli's not a Michigan fan. He's a good
What about
person.
the superstars?
Oh, I can't tell you who they root for, but they're a good bunch to be around. So
what's the top game event moment of your Michigan State days, or even as a fan, what do you look at and be like, that defines me as a Spartan?
I would say my senior year, being able to go to the Rose Bowl We were close on multiple occasions. I think it was the sophomore year where there was the punter interference against Wisconsin, and so there's a lot of frustration being a Michigan State football fan, especially in my youth, and so being able to go to the Rose Bowl on my senior year was pretty fun.
Now, if this face looks familiar, not because of his Concordia affiliation, maybe because you have a Sports Illustrated edition in which his face is among many on the cover. Yeah, you've been on the cover of Sports Illustrated wearing
Yes.
the Spartan hat or helmet.
Yep, and the Swire vest I wore yesterday.
Wow, how did that come about? How do you and everybody else who was on this cover make the covers SI?
Sports Illustrated reached out to the Athletic Communications office in Matt Larson's, and they said we need some people to be around Gary Harris to create some hype. And so they sent out a message to all the Athletic Communications staff, the student staff, and then I think there's some basketball office helpers as well there. And they were like, do you want to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated? And it's just like, it's either go to your teaching class or be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And I'm here and not teaching.
How many copies of that issue do you have?
I think we have around 8 or something. My aunt blew up a cover, so I have a framed that cover as well. So
I felt bad because I think I saw the cover either on I do research either on your Facebook or Twitter page, and some of your friends or fans got blocked out by the address label. You just made it. I mean, you're just above the address label.
Well, I was the first one picked, so they kind of looked at, like, they had us in the stands and they wanted to build around Gary, and I had that hat, and they were like, you in the hat, and I was like, yes. But the downfall, I was poked in the eye by Gary Harris in one of those shots, because Gary Harris was here and I was right here. And so one of the shots was spin the ball on your finger, and so he's spinning it, and he lost control, and to try to get it, he just got me right in the eye.
It's like your claim to fame now.
I know.
Jeez. So for Michigan State, was Calvin next?
Calvin was next, yes. So my time at Michigan State was over, and I was looking for jobs. And then the Calvin job opened, and I was living in Grand Rapids, so I was like, that's a good fit. Like, try D3 out, and so.
What was it like to work at Calvin where, Concordia is getting close, and I believe it's only a matter of time. I don't know what sport, but Calvin right now, you have teams that are competing annually for national championships. But then also Calvin has been in a position to host national championships. Those have to be amazing experiences, not only covering the team, but then putting on such a large-scale event.
Yeah, the transition was a big culture shock, going from a big D1, Big Ten program to a small Christian college. The first few months was a very big culture shock, but you were kind of thrown into it because we were hosting the volleyball championships that year, and so I think that would have been my second month into the job. We were hosting 8 different teams and that's a lot of work that most fans don't really think about. I put in probably 80 hours or plus that week, and I thought our staff always did a great job of hosting, and we actually got to host you as well.
Yeah, and what I forget, and you remind me, but if I look back at photos, it comes back to me as you actually were like our TV stand at one point.
I was your TV stand.
For a replay. The guy's a jack of all trades, and there was a replay moment when Kelvin hosted the NCAA Division III Women's Basketball National Championship, and one of the monitors wasn't working, and you had to be like the human TV stand.
Yep, I stole your TV stand, held it
referees
up.
had to see the monitor.
Yep, and put it over to the referees.
Great job, by the way.
Thank you. I do good as a TV stand, I guess.
It was great. So Concordia now.
Concordia.
What are your impressions? So you've been here since about mid-October.
Mid-October, I really like it here. It's a beautiful campus with a lot of great people. There's a lot of great coaches and people that I get to work with, and it was a big difference. This is a different athletic communications staff where we have 27 students on staff, and so being able to do a lot of different things is very fun at this office.
One of the sports you cover in the spring, softball. You also cover acro and tumbling, so you'll be busy tonight. Again, Arizona Christian, 6 o'clock inside the John Boog Fieldhouse. But softball, slow start, good competition. What do you expect from softball this year?
I expect them to shock a few people. They're a very young program, but they have some really good senior leadership there as well. So I think once they start getting some playing time, they'll shock some people.
I have to believe a highlight so far in your time is getting the opportunity to go back to Michigan, Ann Arbor no less, CIT, and watch the Falcon men's basketball team come over with the CIT championship?
You know, there was a lot of yellow and blue there. In our hotel, I think there was a wooden Wolverine, so I didn't like that aspect of it. But I really did enjoy the CIT experience, both on the court and off the court. There was a lot of fun things that were involved with there, and I think both of our basketball programs are great programs to be around, both player-wise and then coach-wise. So it was a really fun experience, besides Steve almost driving us into a truck.
And that we'll talk about at a later time during another podcast. That makes sense, too. I got stories, too. But to wrap it all up, career goals. Obviously, we hope you're here for a long time. But what when you look at this field, when you look at like your background, what is the ultimate dream or goal someday?
I think the ultimate dream would be working back at Michigan State, giving back to my alma mater, and then a place that's given me so much so that I can give back to them.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, Matt Menzl. It's more fun being at this table than making fun of you at that table.
I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah.
That's disturbing. Jeremy, appreciate it. Welcome to Concordia, in case you haven't heard that in the last 5 months. And you can see him at various sporting events throughout the remaining school year. Thanks to Jofflyn. Thanks to JC. Thank you for watching. Again, no show next week. He'll be in Florida. Everybody else will be elsewhere. It's spring break. We'll join you again for what will be a long stretch run of shows beginning March 26th, 9:45 a.m., right back here in the CUW cafeteria for the Falcon Focus podcast.